With the hockey season starting soon, a lot of New York Rangers fans seem very negative about the team's outlook. But looking at the roster compared to last year, did the Rangers actually get better? Let's talk about it. Well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watsu-K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. So, it's the end of September right now. The Mets season's about to end. The Jets season feels like it's already over. And I really need to think about something in sports that makes me happy, which usually means thinking about a team where the season is not going on as of the moment. So the New York Rangers are about 2 weeks from starting the hockey season, and I'm pretty amazed how negative the fan base seems to be right now on social media. Talking about, this team has not made any improvements. This team is worse than what it was last year. What is Peterlaviolette going to do? What kind of a difference can he make? But if you take a step back and look at the roster now compared to what it was opening night last season, I think the differences are positive, and I think they're quite notable. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to go through the forwards and then the defensemen and goalies, break down who left, and talk about who came in, and let's be the judge. Let's see what the difference is. So the Rangers did lose quite a few forwards since last October. So they traded away Vitalikravtsov. The less said about him, the better. One of the biggest draft pick busts the New York Rangers have ever had in their lives. He's basically been expunged from North America, for crying out loud. Then you've got Ryancarpenter, a fourth-line center. Pretty replaceable player. I think the Rangers upgraded from him, but more on him in a moment. He played maybe 30, 40 games. He was gone. Ryanreaves, we love him for his character, for his hard hitting, for Shesty release us. But with the salary cap hit, the Rangers were trying to create some space to bring in Vladimir Tarasenko, to bring in Patrick Kane. So Reaves had to go. He did. Then you had sammyblais, who was really struggling with the Rangers to come back from his ACL injury. They did trade him away back to St. Louis, I believe, and he played very well for them. And all the better for him. I guess he went back to familiar surroundings, and he found the fountain of youth, so God bless him. And Drydenhunt, spare forward. Just about every team in hockey has a Drydenhunt. So you look at who they brought in, and I'm glad that they didn't bring in as many forwards as they let go, because it is going to give opportunities for young players to play on the top two lines. But they brought in blakewheeler, right wing from Winnipeg. Now, he's been a captain in Winnipeg. Thankfully, Winnipeg brought out his contract, so they're still paying him a lot of money, and the Rangers were able to sign him for $800K, basically, for very little money. The Rangers actually signed 10 players during the offseason, none for more than $800,000. Chris Drury did not have a lot of cap space to work with. He had to really stretch every dollar, every quarter out as far as he could. We're talking Dollar Tree level stretching, and he was able to do that. So blakewheeler, Rangers had a gaping hole at right wing. We'll see how much he still has left in the tank, but for 1 year, hey, I'm with it. Nick Bonino, I think definitely an upgrade to Ryancarpenter as that fourth-line center. Bonino is a very good face-off man. That is something the Rangers have been terrible at. It feels like ever since, Mark Messier left, it feels like the Rangers always stink on face-offs. But Bonino he has some Stanley Cups on his resume. He centered the famous HBO line in Pittsburgh that won a Stanley Cup or two. Or HBK line, excuse me. HBO is with the Rangers. Yeah, Hagelin, Bonino, and Kessel. So I'm sorry, HBK line. I think Bonino is going to bring some leadership and experience into the room that this team could really use. And then you've got guys like Tyler Pitlick, a couple other spare guys who will fill out sort of the fourth line. So, again, I think the point of the forwards is to give Lafreniere, to give Kakko a chance to earn those minutes, which they were not doing for the last 2 years. And if they can hack it, okay, at least we could say that they had a fair chance rather than playing, 10, 12 minutes a night. And, hey, maybe even get some chances on the power play. Just a thought. Now, as far as defense and the goalie goes, the Rangers let go of Liborhajek, and they let go of Jaroslavhalak. And in their place, they bring in Erikgustafsson, who peterlaviolette knows very well from Washington, can get some points. He could score a little bit for you. He's not going to be asked to play on the power play, but if he winds up being that steady partner for Braden Schneider with a little bit of veteran experience, and Gustafsson has that little bit of offense to his game, it can allow Schneider to play more of the stay-at-home defensive role, which I think he's best suited for. And of course, the goalie, the Rangers bring in Connecticut native and two-time Stanley Cup winner Jonathan Quick. Definitely worth a chance at this point. He really is a backup at this point in his career, but I think that's a very good signing for $700,000-$800,000. No doubt about that. So we look at this roster. It's 22 players. A lot of teams are going to have 23. The Rangers have just 22. And of course, with those 10 new additions that I mentioned, none of them making over $800,000. We'll see how many of them actually make the team. Now, the thing with this is the Rangers have $725,000 left in cap space. Over the course of the season, though, that money will accrue. It will build up, just kind of like interest rate does. And that can become ultimately $3 million by next spring, by the trade deadline. So then if the Rangers need to bring in another defenseman, bring in another winger, Patrick Kane, hopefully that hip resurfacing goes well for him. And I still really want to see Patrick Kane get a fair shot with the Rangers with two healthy hips. Because, I watched him play for many, many years in Chicago. I know how good he can be, and I just think he was never quite right last season. I hope he gets a chance to play for the Rangers once again. That's just my feelings on that. Now, I think probably the biggest issue people have, Rangers fans have, is that they didn't address the speed issue all that much. We still have nightmares of that horrible series against the Devils, which I screamed about rather famously. And it's like, have the Rangers really done enough? They have players with good hands, with good vision on the ice, stuff like that. They might have good shots, but can they skate? Can they keep up in the transition game? And I think that's where peterlaviolette comes in. That's where Michael Pekka comes in, Dan Moose, and Phil Housley, the Rangers' new coaching staff. Plus, we did a video earlier talking about the Rangers got a new skills coach who focuses on skating first and foremost. So their idea is to make these players better skaters than they were. Now, can you turn an okay skater into a great skater in one off season? I don't know about that, but at least they have identified what the problem is, I think correctly, and now they're taking steps to address that. Instead of bringing in one player, make it a team issue. Bring the whole team into it, and let's figure out how to become a better skating hockey team. Now, as far as the lineup goes, I'm very happy that Alexei Lafreniere and Kaapo Kakko and maybe Filip Chytil will get a chance to all play in the top six and not necessarily together. I hope either Kakko or Lafreniere will be able to seize the opportunity as first-line right wing. If Blake Wheeler is the first-line right wing, that is not a good sign. Because like I said, he's only going to be here for 1 year. He's in his mid to late 30s. Kakko and Lafreniere at this point, one of them needs to seize that job. I personally hope it's Kakko, but we'll see what winds up happening. And, who knows how these lines are all going to shake out. Peterlaviolette is willing to try just about anything. He's even willing to try Keandre Miller and Adam Fox together on defense. And put Lindgren and Trouba together on another defensive pair, something Gerard-Gallant would never consider doing. And I've seen some different combinations with the lines. I've seen, I think, Filip Chytil with Artemi Panarin and Kaapo Kakko, which is a pretty interesting possible line. But I think one of the big things, I hope these kids get to play. One of these kids gets a role on the top power play. Now, I want to address something with the coaching, and I think this is one of the reasons why I'm most excited about Peterlaviolette coaching this team. When the Rangers had Gerard-Gallant as coach, they were really relying on two things to win. The great goaltending of Igor Shesterkin and a dynamite power play. But if one of those things wasn't working, the Rangers were oftentimes not doing very well. So when they were playing 5-on-5 under Gerard-Gallant, now the Rangers had a 99-46-19 record under Gallant. Excellent record, no doubt about it. But if you get into the advanced metrics, the expected goals for on 5-on-5 ranked 22nd out of 32 teams. And if you look at the actual scoring chances, 24th. That is just not good enough. And just to give you some specific info on that, of the 8 teams that won at least one playoff round in 2022-2023, 6 of the top 10 finished in expected goals for 5-on-5, and none of them were worse than 16th. So Laviolette is known for having very good 5-on-5 teams. You can't always rely on special teams because you can't always rely on another team to take a penalty. You have to win the transition games. You have to be able to outskate your opponent at times. And with some of the players the Rangers have, the best idea isn't always to throw the puck in the corner and go, forecheck against the boards and kind of chip it out. That's not what a lot of these players are going to be most skilled at. So I like the idea of skating in the puck, generating chances off the rush. Let's see the Rangers play that kind of game. And I think with a brand new coaching staff, that could happen. So those are the reasons why I'm most excited about this team. The change in personnel, I think, is going to allow opportunities for the kids to be successful. I like that they added some legit experience into this room, but not necessarily putting them in major roles. And I do think the head coach is better suited to coach the Rangers players, particularly the younger players. Well, those are my thoughts on the New York Rangers and the change from last year going into this year. What are your thoughts? What do you think about the team this year going into the season as opposed to last year's roster? I'd be very interested to see your thoughts. Put them down there in the comments. Reminder, join us every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. for Wednesday Night Live. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.